follow up after the sort of meandering work session where we went through the B section here and looked at our first write, found a bunch of parallel fifths and an unequal fifth and a couple other things, and tried different solutions for them. Um, and then worked out the end there. It was becoming more and more apparent that I was actually okay with some of the parallel fifths in the sound because for me, sound is more important than rules. And the rules help us when we get stuck somewhere. In the end, I'll just review again. We got rid of this unequal fifth by instead of the basses going down, having them go up, so now they're moving in opposite direction. And we had some arpeggiating bass lines here and here, last, fourth measure of that line and the second to last measure of that line. And after reviewing it again, I just didn't like the way it broke up the line, especially because this song goes at a clip. So I just left them there. And I'm okay with the fact that we end up with consecutive fifths going in opposite directions, and the outside voice is there, and then parallel fifths there, and then parallel fifths there. It's fine. Again, I listened very carefully to each one of these, and we can make up solutions, and we should be able to do that. But in the end, we have to adjudicate whether the cure for these things is worse than the actual ill. And that was the case. Now, I have also gone over this one more time and sort of fixing this up. And two and a half things became really apparent to me. One is that we're going to want to repeat this first half twice. And I'm going to bet that this, so I just copied it here. I'll play the whole thing at the end of this so you can hear the balance and proportion. I'm going to bet that this first time through, though, is going to be a different texture. Because we've come off of four-part, homophonic texture here. So I wouldn't be surprised if the work we do on the subsequent writings of three-part and two-part duet yield us something that goes here on the first time through. And then we go to our four-part harmony here, which builds. And then when we get to here, we have a big finish in that. This takes us back to the beginning of the song again. So that's the first thing, is that we have twice through this first 8 measures, and the first time is a placeholder with the same music, but it's probably going to be a different texture, something lighter, something that gives us more contrast with the beginning. So it might even be where different sections, I'm guessing, like jump back and forth, 2 parts, 3 parts, imitating each other, that kind of thing. We'll see. There's other little things, like I think maybe this time we'll probably, depending on the lyrics, stop on the G or stop on a half note or something there before going on. And then I did make a couple changes in this line that we didn't cover in the last video, where I dropped these bass or say the altos and the tenors down. It wasn't to get rid of parallel fifths. In fact, I caused one right there. But this is our sort of we've done this line, right? It's all homophonic and chord stacking and everything's the same. And so I felt that it felt really good and cathartic for these voices to move down and go through these jumps like that. It gives it a little more internal craft that matches the outside sort of linear aspect of these. And I played them and sang them, and I made sure that every line through this entire section is singable and is the sound that I like, and that the overall sound is really good too. So from here, let's see. Right, I even brought the tenors down here. I guess what I'm saying is I spent some time crafting this section, leaving these guys here on the A instead of being unison like we thought originally, so that the point of unison happens right here and it tapers more gradually into that point right there, and these individual lines inside move. So I would play this. There's my and I make sure those all worked. And then I went through also and I crafted the tenor line a little more and gave them a chance to shine. So we tapered into the unison there a little bit, and the tenors are We're on the E. No, wait, we're not. Yeah. And then I give him a chance to come out here and really split into 4-part harmony. If you remember, originally these were just in unison the whole time. And so it really just only went to 3-part. So I let the tenors have a chance to get and shine and open up a little bit, and it'll give a lot of power to right there. I did this off camera just because it was fiddly, and I was doing it at the end of reviewing and changing back all these things to the way I wanted them. But I hope you see the rationale for that. By the time we get to here, we're not even thinking about too much about the rules anymore. We're looking at harmonies and sound and texture and bigger issues. There's one other little issue I want to talk about before I just play this for you so you can hear the balance of it and then tell you what's going to happen next. And that's over here. I knew about this beforehand and I just didn't get to talking about it before. There's these spots right here where the melody is coming down and making a dissonance with the alto, and then the alto will shift and get out of the way. Happens here too. Sometimes it's acceptable and sometimes it's not, and I want to talk about why. So this one is perfectly fine. I really like let's see, let's get into here. I like that. It's a nice stable note, and then jump down. That feels really good. And this is a sort of a copy of it too, right? This kind of thing, or there. But this one does not feel good. Whenever it goes by, I feel uncomfortable about this. We're going to change this right now. And I think the reason is this. We have the B here, and we have the F there. And there's a rule called unequal fifths, which we skipped last time because of time, which says that if a pair of voices is a diminished fifth and it doesn't, it goes on to a perfect fifth, then it feels unresolved and kind of strange. And it's objectionable if one of those is in the bass. Well, here's a diminished fifth between tenor and alto, and it doesn't resolve inwards. Like this note should have gone up to the C and this should have come down, and it should have contracted inwards. Although one of them is not in the bass, it's not the dissonance up here between the soprano and the alto that's the problem. It's the dissonance here between these voices, and then its unresolved nature. And in this case, then I really think we need to, consider how to fix that. And it might be that we have to leave this up on the C and then jump down, as opposed to walking down. But listen to it this way. The other thing we could do is we could bring the alto down to the C, although I'm going to expect that jumping into a dissonance of a half step is not a good idea. Anyhow, I will tweak with this later, and you can, that will be a change that happens. Okay, let me play the whole thing for you. It's going to play through here. It's going to play through the B section with the repeated second part, and then it's going to repeat back with the DC and come back to the end. And that's going to be almost 2 minutes, I think, at this really ambitious tempo. In live performances, it'll be a little slower than that, which is good for a piece of music. Yeah, I will talk about what we're going to do next with it after this. But here we go from the beginning. we go. Now, that was, a couple minutes almost, which is perfect for a short piece of choir music. Um, and we could leave it there. If we wanted to extend this a bit, then we would do another section different from this one, and we'd be making a rondo. And a simple rondo is an A section, a B section, the A section again, a new different C or third part, and then it would come back and do maybe just the last half of this again for the A, I think. And then we probably tag this last part again as well. So it's already starting to sort of take shape. What happens next? I think we write a B part. I think we write these 2 and 3 part versions and we figure out how that goes there. We need to start writing some lyrics at some point because lyrics will change things. All this work that we've done will be upset to accommodate lyrics because that's an important part of communication to the audience. And so we might see some rhythms change. We might see a few things change, actually. We might see some textures change as new things come up from the lyrics as well. And then, we have to make a choice. Are we going to write that third or C part and then put that in there? I think we should, but we'll see how time goes with the term. It's something that we could finish this off like this and I can write the rest. It's my intent that we use this in choir at some point in the department. So just so you know, you're co-writing or participating in the writing, I guess, of a piece of music that will get used for choir. All right. Good. Next thing will happen is there will be a video that drops on how to write 3-part and 2-part, and that will be for your weekend. As always, you just you're participating along with this to get an idea for workflow, for for how to get through writing a piece of music. I want to emphasize once again that there's lots of ways to write music, but generally speaking, new composers get bogged down with minutia and worry about what chord and what note and that kind of thing. And I'm trying to show you through this kind of fast process that you might consider and get more work done by throwing what you know how to do in there and get a certain step done. And once it's done, it has mistakes or errors, whether it's a bad chord like we found here at the end of this section that we wanted to change, or we slapped stuff in there and then we looked back and found errors and found solutions to fix the errors of sound we didn't like. Or sometimes we found errors that give us the sound that we actually want. And so even though they're quote unquote classical errors, things that you might correct in an exercise, you keep them. You make a value judgment on that. Always singability and sound, right? They do go hand in hand quite a bit, but the sound and is it doable for the singers, right? And then rules be sort of, well, devil may care, right? Yeah. All right, onward.